Hi, my name's Daniel Galafaro, and I'll be giving a speech today on a historical event in time. Here's my audience members with me, just for proof. 3 of them, all over the age of 18. Thank you. All right, so who here is from Dallas, Texas, or has ever visited the city?
Me.
Raise your hands. Okay,
I've been there before.
All three. Well, did you know that the 35th President of the United States was actually killed there?
No way.
Well, now you do.
Dude.
So today we will find the significance of this historical event to be relevant even in today's political climate. We will be exploring the details of John F. Kennedy's assassination, how the nation responded to such a tragedy, and alternative explanations to the late president's impromptu death. So where exactly and when did this happen? According to johnfkennedylibrary.org, on November 22nd, 1963, President John F. Kennedy woke up in Fort Worth, Texas, and gave brief remarks in what would be his last unofficial speech. Later that day, his presidential team embarked on a 13-minute flight from Fort Worth to Dallas, Texas. Pretty short, right? Well, JFK, his first lady, Governor Connolly, and his wife traveled through Dallas in an open convertible along a 10-mile motorcade route. So kind of like a little parade type of thing. Well, according to the Library of Congress, 46-year-old John F. Kennedy, scheduled to give remarks at a luncheon, never made it to his remarks because he was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald in Dealey Plaza, Texas. Later, he died in Parkland Memorial Hospital. Here is a video, condensed video, of course, of his last words before he died.
2 years ago, I said that, introduced myself in Paris by saying that I was the man who had accompanied Mrs. Kennedy to Paris. I'm getting that same sensation as I travel around Texas.
Really just a charming guy, I'd say. So, what was the nation's response to such a tragedy? Well, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey reports that the New York International Airport was renamed to the John F. Kennedy Airport on December 24th, 1963. The decision aimed to remember President Kennedy's ideals and his life in a respectful way. So as you can see, now it's done a lot of growing since back then it was very small. But of course it's still undergoing construction and renovation every year. Just getting bigger and bigger. Let's look at another way of how the nation responded to this tragedy. According to the Historical Marker database, the grassy knoll is the hill that police occupied in response to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. This historical marker captures a timeless event and tells an important story that every American should know. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever been here in downtown Dallas, but literally on the street, there's an X in the road where he is thought to be shot as he was going through that motorcade. And it's obviously expanded and the city's changed a little bit, but for the most part, that memorial is still the same. So it's kind of a cool little place to see if you're ever in town. Let's steer things in a different direction and look at some of the facts. Well, according to the National Archives, President John F. Kennedy was shot 2 times, with both bullets creating an entry and an exit wound. The President's Commission on the Assassination of President John F. K. established these findings to be true after doctors in Parkland Memorial Hospital performed an autopsy that corroborated such findings. However, the investigation carried out by the House Select Committees on Assassination reported inconclusive results and even alluded to the idea that the assassination was linked to some sort of conspiracy, but that further details were unknown. One theory suggests that there was more than one shooter involved in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. The theory entertains the idea that Lee Harvey Oswald and another unidentified perpetrator on the grassy knoll were responsible for the 2 bullet wounds. This theory does have some merit, as eyewitnesses recall hearing shots coming from the grassy knoll at the time of his assassination. So today, we investigated the details of President John F. Kennedy's assassination, how the nation responded to the tragedy, and differing opinions on the president's death. The story of JFK's death is a turning point in the history of American diplomacy. I hope you've left here today with a better understanding of this historical event. Thank you. Here are my references, and I'll go ahead and open up the Q&A floor. If anybody has questions at this time, I'd be glad to take some.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious. So, from your research, what were some of the sort of conclusions you came to when?
Well, I think that this is a particularly nuanced event in history. There's a lot of differing opinions. There's a lot of he said, she said that goes into that. But if I were to give my thoughts on what I think happened, 2 bullets, 2 entry wounds, people saying that they heard shots coming from the grassy knoll, which is, a much different location than where Lee Harvey Oswald shot from a building, kind of makes me believe that potentially there was some sort of foul play in there. And without going too much into that, I would say that I think that there might be some sort of difference of opinions there. Another question?
By foul play, do you think it was like the CIA?
Well, I think that the idea that one singular man is just so out of sync with a president's policy ideas and, who he is, so much so that he would shoot him from on top of a building, maybe is a little far-fetched because, how many people are working with bigger conglomerates and agendas that might have the ability to get paid or get bribed or be in the pocket of somebody else when something like American diplomacy is at stake? I think that it's very complicated and maybe we'll never know the true answer. Any other questions?
No, I don't think so. The only thing I would potentially ask would be if Lee Harvey Oswald was just in a situation to where he was either forced or perhaps enticed to do something, do you think he would have had some type of incentive, or do you think his assets would have been on the line for him to actually pull the trigger? What do you think might have motivated him more?
I think that he probably was offered some sort of prize for this if, in fact, he was working alone. But I also think that when you're bribed and you're put to a task that is that grandiose, I think that he probably is also threatened at the same time. So I guess we won't really ever know, but it's certainly a very interesting historical event. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Enjoying.
Wonderful speech.